As a storyteller, I find writing one of the most rewarding parts of the filmmaking process. Recently, I found myself writing a lot more often, and as of this October, I have finished my second feature-length script. The first script was far more difficult to write. I didn't quite know what I was doing. But that first experience of writing a screenplay enabled me to build a process, which made the second script a lot easier to write. I had built steps, habits, and rituals that enabled me to write my second screenplay in under 2 months. So, as I explore my process, I thought I would share it with you guys to see if it would help. The first step is not starting with a blank page. I find it extremely intimidating to face a page with no writing on. That little line fading in and out, almost mocking me, saying, "What are you going to write next?" So I start with ideas, collecting them, writing them in notebooks, notes on my phone, or voice memos. The ideas that I had 12 months ago might fit with the ideas that I had in the shower this morning. I build on these ideas, little notes here and there, and then I curate them. I handpick and select the things that excite me, and build a singular vision, something that is cohesive as one. My second step is to know my story. I have my ideas curated into a vision of a film, but there's no story there yet. It's in fragments, jigsaw pieces that need to be put together into a story that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. There's many ways that you can do this. Prose, short stories, bullet points, but my favourite way is the Save the Cat beat sheet. These are unique moments in your film that drive the narrative, and oftentimes I find my ideas slot perfectly into this beat sheet. This forms a roadmap, a way in which I'm going to go from beginning to end of writing my screenplay, because much like the characters, I'm going to go on a journey too. When I've got this roadmap, I can see my story as a whole and digest it, because it is not a 110-page screenplay, but maybe 1 or 2 pages of story. It is also a great moment to share the story with trusted friends and family, people that you can bounce ideas back and forth off. Because you can tell this story as if you're around a campfire at this moment, you can see what works and what doesn't. Each part of the process for me is a way of screening the story. Because there's nothing worse than sitting down, writing page after page of screenplay and then realising you don't quite know where your story's going. I know that if I get stuck later on, I can come back to this beat sheet to guide me to the next moment in the script. My final step before I sit down and write my screenplay is getting a bird's eye view of my story. The way I do this is with note cards and a corkboard, but there's many formats of this, such as Final Draft's Beatsboard. This is a way for me to combine my curated ideas and my beat sheet, my roadmap to writing this film. And I'm putting the two together, because in my ideas, I might have put a piece of dialogue or a character moment, but where does that fit into my story? So I'll write it down and I'll start moving bits around. Okay, where does this fit into my story? Essentially narrowing down the bigger picture until we get to that scene by scene playthrough. So we've gone from this idea to these sequences, this beat sheet, and then we're breaking those sequences within the beat sheet down to scenes. And all of a sudden I can see my whole film. I can talk it through, I can see if this works. Okay, this scene works next to this scene, or if that doesn't work, I can just move a card physically to somewhere else. Now I can finally write. I have my ideas which I can go back to for inspiration. I have my beat sheet, which is a roadmap to guide myself from beginning to end of writing my screenplay, and my beats board, which shows my film scene by scene. I can cross each scene off with this extreme cathartic release, And if I have writer's block, I just have to go back to my beats board and go, okay, that's the scene I have to write next. Here's my ideas for that scene. Now I know what to write. But I'm not a slave to this structure. I like to be open to change, and actually having a structure helps with that. Because I know that if I get stuck in the weeds or I go off path, I can always go back to my roadmap or my scene by scene beats board to guide me to finishing my screenplay. Now it's all about building healthy writing habits and rituals. Things that will help me sit down at the computer and enjoy the process of writing. And ultimately that's all this is trying to make writing more enjoyable for myself. So I don't get frustrated with what scene's coming next or what does this character have to say, but instead I've helped my future self with this process. I hope that by sharing my process I can help you start writing your next script. Or you might have a friend stuck behind the blank page, and sharing this video might give them that little bit of a push to start writing. There are so many great stories in people's heads, and they all deserve to be told.